Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Pixels in Progress podcast, where we talk about sexism and gaming culture. Today, I have Isabel with me. Isabel, say hi.
Hello.
Would you introduce yourself with your preferred pronouns, your gender identity, and a couple of games you like to play, or the types of games you like to play?
Yeah, of course. I'm Isabel. I use she, her pronouns, and I am identify as female woman. And some of the games I currently play right now are Genshin Impact, Call of Duty, and Valorant are like the main three I'm playing right now. But my favorite game, like genres, is definitely like RPGs
Mm,
and just like really good story based games.
nice. Do you just want to talk about what you do at your job and what your position is?
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. So right now I am a multiplayer gameplay engineer for Call of Duty, and I currently work at the Sledgehammer Games Studios. And that role is working on like the code of the game, and I interface a lot with designers and a lot of teams that help create what is Call of Duty. So I previously was actually an intern before I switched to a full time job at Sledgehammer Games to work on Call of Duty. And my time as an intern and what I'm doing right now is practically like the same work I do, which was really interesting and taught me a lot during my internship. And then switching to my full time job, I was working on like an actual like game that was gonna ship out. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
It was kind of crazy. I can't talk about what I have worked on exactly,
Mm,
unfortunately, until there's this embargo, or whatever, until like January. But it was so cool to work on something and then see it like be released and
mhm.
like people play what you helped create.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, and that's why I love games.
I'm excited when January comes around to check your your socials to see if you
Oh
can talk
yeah,
about
I'll
it.
definitely be like, yeah, I will once I can talk about it.
Mhm.
I will definitely be talking about it.
Is there anything that inspired you to pursue a career in this field, or is was it just because of your hobby?
Definitely hobby. It started with a hobby. So I played games throughout most like since I can remember basically. Like I remember the first game I played was like it's not Nintendo Switch. It's Wii the Nintendo Wii
Mhm.
Sports. And that was like the first video game I actually played. And then like growing up, there was definitely like there was definitely like a market when I was growing up. Like these were like girl games and these were like boy games. So like I would watch my brother play like Halo and Call of Duty and um like some of those games that were like heavily marketed towards boys and men or whatever. And then like I remember wanting a DS so I could play like those fashion games,
Mhm.
like where you could like dress up like these like models or whatever. And then like around high school, I started getting into like FPS games, like Valorant started coming up, like Valorant. I think at the end, but I mostly played Overwatch, and yeah, I've had a lot of experiences playing Overwatch around gender and around like just playing female characters too. It was a ride. It was like competitive too, competitive Overwatch.
Oh
Playing
God.
that was like its own whole battleground of just craziness.
Mhm. Do you have any specific instances you can think of?
I have a few. They just all kind of mush together
Mhm.
in my memory, but it's like basically so when I played Overwatch and competitive Overwatch, I would play this character called Mercy, and they're like a female representing character. And so it's also interesting because her role is like a healer. So like you're trying to support the team, and you're like, and like the character is a doctor too. So it's like you have a caregiver aspect to it. And then I remember I would be on voice chat. I would calm and be like, "Hey, I can't heal you, Genji or whatever DPS um character. Like you're too far away." And then, like people would go on comms and say like really expletive stuff to me, like shut up or insert whatever slur or expletive you would like. Like it was just crazy how like people first off attack you for like being a certain person playing a game, and then use that to like say why your gameplay is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I experienced it a lot. And then in Overwatch, like competitive Overwatch, like for other games, like this is mostly like obviously only happened like with multiplayer competitive type games.
Right.
Because that's when you have those interactions. And so, like for Valorant, I vividly remember this experience because it was like during the beta of Valorant, and I was playing. I was doing trash as Sage. I was so bad. Like I was so bad. And on comms, so I didn't speak, but there was these two people on my team who were trash talking me. Again, expletives, like slurs, and then I went on chat to be like, hey, like I was calming, so I was ignoring. I was like, I usually ignore people who make those comments because I just don't want to. I'm not the type of person to like escalate that, right? It's like whatever. They're obviously in a bad mood or whatever's going on. I don't want to be a part of that. So I'm calming, like, oh, they're like at B site or whatever.
Mm.
And then their whole attitude gets like 10 times worse because like they think I'm a woman, and it just got worse. And that was like literally one of the worst, like the worst experience I've had multiplayer, like online in a game. And like after that, I didn't play Valorant until like I didn't start getting back into it until like junior year of college. I like did not play for 2 years because I that experience was so bad.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I know it was so bad.
Hmm. I took things that people have said to me like way too personally, and it just affected me so badly. Especially
No.
because this was like, or Valorant was my first person shooter game that I ever played,
Mhm.
and it was just a lot. And now I never play unless I'm queuing with a 5 stack where there's no chance of having any abusive
Yeah.
strangers.
No, yeah, and that's the thing, cause like I feel like as a woman too, people just assume you're a man, like most of the time, especially in FPS games. Like in Call of
Hmm.
Duty, everyone assumes that like you're a guy playing Call of Duty. And the minute you get on voice chat, it's like risking like either people backtrack or like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like I didn't mean it, or they get 10 times worse because you're a woman. So yeah, it's definitely there's still a lot of toxicity around that
For
in
sure.
game and playing with other people.
Oh, I wanted to ask you what the punishment system is for Call of Duty reporting. Like if it was similar to Valorant where you just can't queue certain games for like a certain amount of time or you're like com banned.
I believe that I think we do like both of those things. I'm not exactly sure the like exact punishments,
Mhm.
but we have like this code of conduct that we have before people like load up, like the first time people load up into the game and when they go in multiplayer. There's a lot of work that goes into like vetting people and vetting like bad behavior, which I am glad to see. On like I'm on like it's crazy because like I used to be on the other side, right? Just like consuming and playing games, and now I'm like part of actually creating something that people will consume and play and have experiences on. It's like, oh, we're doing this so all players can have a safe and a fun experience, hopefully.
Mhm.
We definitely have systems in place to ban or to report people like based on their usernames, based what they said in chat, voice chat. But yeah, I don't know exact specifics for Call of Duty.
Hmm. That's good though that there's like an ongoing record of what people say.
Hmm.
I think I was talking to a couple of my friends about this yesterday, but for Valorant, when that happens, it's just way too easy to make a new account and just have like none
Yes,
of those penalties matter.
that is true. I think there's some, like the way like we do it for Call of Duty is that it depends because you have to make like an Activision account, and I don't remember if they're still requiring a phone number,
Mm,
but that's like how they would prevent people from just like making a new account because like you have to add a phone number, like a new phone number,
mhm.
but I'm not sure if they still do that.
That's smart.
But they are looking at. I know like in general, like the gaming companies are looking for ways to prevent people from just like making new accounts, even
Mhm,
though they're bad behavior, like they have bad behavior and they shouldn't be like they need to be punished for it or whatnot or just completely banned. But
mhm. I was just gonna ask if you can think of a game or a character that has resonated with you because of its positive portrayal of women, or just resonated with you for other reasons. And
ooh, yes, okay. I love Diva from Overwatch. Okay, Diva from Overwatch was like basically like my role model, my
um,
like I want to be her like when I grew up type vibe. Like she was so cool. She played games and she was good at it. And like, she played games and like was feminine, but like not like overtly like sexualized either. Like I feel like some games or some like designs of like these characters of women in games will stereotype will have like the stereotype to put on the character, and it's just like black and white.
oh yeah, for
But
sure.
with Diva, I was like, oh my gosh, cool, but also feminine and like cute, but like she could also be badass, and she plays video games, and she's like of Asian representation, which I didn't really have a lot of that, especially in like multiplayer like FPS games at that time. And so I loved Diva so much. I cosplayed as her like twice.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, definitely Diva. I love Diva.
So cute. I love her entire theme, and I don't know, just every time I see like fan art, she just always looks so cool.
I know. I know. I just wish I was super good at playing as her. I just could not handle her playstyle.
Mm. In your role in the gaming industry and game development, how do you approach the design and development process to ensure that games appeal to a more diverse audience, including women?
Yes. That's a good question. Um, so at Sledgehammer Games, we have this group called Kaleidoscope, and we have these like times where we can meet as a like group of people, like all across the studio, and talk about like anything we're concerned about regarding DEI, so diversity, equity, inclusion. And there is like a whole team just dedicated for diversity, equity, inclusion, heavily for our content as well as like our studio culture in general. And I'm not exactly sure like the exact processes, but there are people involved to make sure things of all cultures or specific groups of people and countries or specific like themings we're doing or any operator skins, like any skins, just like yeah, any content in general. um we are definitely making sure it's being represented in a respectful manner and getting like feedback from like our studio, like us in our studio itself. I'm so bad at explaining stuff, but yeah, we have a process. And then I guess as an individual, I definitely try to keep myself so since I'm an engineer, I don't get a lot of say in like at an individual level. I am able to go to our like D&I team, and if I have any concerns or like feedback on any content or any culture, studio culture related things, I can go to them. But also just in general, I'm always advocating for like more female operator skins, more like cute gun charms or like things like that. Especially for Call of Duty. Cause like I feel like most people think Call of Duty, they associate it with like it's a game that men slash boys slash males play. But like I've been getting into Call of Duty and I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. But then, compared to Valorant, I know like it's a different like theming and different like setting. But I'm like, come on, like I want more like cute cat charms.
Yeah.
I don't need any more skulls or like weapon charms to put on my guns.
And such
Like
muted colors for everything.
I know, like brown and green. My gosh. I think just being myself is like a good way. Cause also so in like software, like in the software, I'm like pivoting a little. I was like, tell me if I'm ranting or not.
No, you're
Or
fine.
in computer science. So I majored in computer science, right? And everyone talks about, oh, like, yeah, computer science, like software engineering. We're like more women are entering like, the workforce for software engineering, software development. But the thing is, in the game industry, it's still the ratio, the is bad. It's still
Mm.
bad. So
Like how bad
like
would you estimate?
it's definitely not 50-50. And I would say I don't have numbers, but like from my own experience, I am on a team of 8 people, and there are me and one other woman.
Oh,
So 2 out of 8, like 1/4.
uh,
So definitely not 50-50.
mhm.
And there definitely I like don't know how to describe, but there definitely is a difference being around people aren't aren't like you, if that makes sense. Because at school, right? At school, it was 50-50 ish, for my classes, for my computer science classes, and then like going into the workforce, going into the gaming industry, like it did significantly drop
Mm.
in like the amount of other women I was like interacting with and on the teams. So there definitely is work needed to be done to diversify and include more people, different groups of people into the gaming industry. And there have been huge pushes to do this. Like I see it within my company, I see it at other studios. Um, it's just it's just been a long standing like issue in gaming, I feel like. And I don't know if it'll get solved within the next 10 years or not, but I definitely see it's going to improve. It's just yeah.
Mhm. I hope it will get better.
Yes.
Before I get too old and stop playing games, I would like to feel safe enough to play some new games.
I know. I know. It's crazy to think about too cuz like I have to think about as like a female or a woman, right, playing games. It's like I have to think about my safety,
Hmm.
like getting like talking on a game. Other people go on games and they can talk whenever they want, or like they don't have this like fear or like having to look out for themselves whenever they're interacting with other people online playing a video game. But like I feel like as women and other of my friends who are women as well, like we avoid or try not like avoid using voice chat like if we don't need to, or
Hmm.
if like in general we just don't want to use it because we don't know who's gonna harass us or start saying some weird shit to us. Like, yeah.
Especially if you're a streamer, I feel like you are much more. Well, it's just, I don't know, like I streamed for a little bit and I would constantly worry about people from my games finding my stream and then they could easily find a lot of personal information about me. That was just scary. Like I just wanted to play the game. I wanted to stream for fun to my other
Yeah.
friends, but you never know when a stranger's gonna.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. And then I honestly feel like I love multiplayer like competitive games and it's fun to play, but I think that side of it like deters me enough to where like most of my favorite games are honestly like
Mhm.
single player story based games where it's just me and my characters and I don't have to talk to anyone else.
Yep.
So
My last question to you is what advice would you give to aspiring women looking to pursue a career in game development or related roles?
oh my god, that's a good question. That's a good question. Like this is gonna be so cliche, but like be yourself
Mhm.
because your enthusiasm, your drive, your passion forever for whatever reason that you're into games, like you need to let that shine and you need to let other people see it. Um I I always get this comment at work and like I love it so much. People are like, "You are so enthusiastic as well." Like, I love to see like I love your enthusiasm. Like you're so willing to like learn more about XYZ, like mostly about how how games are built. Cause I this is my first job ever. But yeah, it's just if you really wanna be in this industry, like passion is what will get you there.
That was such a nice note to end it on. It was so
Yeah.
like heartfelt.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I knew since high school I wanted to be in this industry, and like I worked my ass off to get here.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like if yeah, it's just you have to show you are dedicated and you really want to be in this space because it is a really competitive industry, like to be frank. And it is even harder as maybe like like if you're part of an underrepresented group and yeah, you just gotta show that you want to work on games or you want to whatever make art or code or there's so many other things in the game industry that so many jobs and if you really want to be there there's probably a job for you and then figuring out like how you can connect yourself to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just ranting at this point.
Well, I'm proud of you for getting where you are today.
Oh, thank you. I'm already trying to plan out my next move, my next
Ooh,
journeys.
that's exciting.
I know. I wanna open up my game studio someday. Like I really want to.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but we will I will have to figure that out.
Well, me and all the listeners of this podcast will be rooting for you and supporting your projects.
Ah, thank you.
Thanks again for speaking with me today, Isabel. It was so great having you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course.